Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Alright, so let's talk a little bit, let's flip the table here. Let's turn it 180 degrees. So let's talk about people that are empathic or very loving, kind, healers, etc., spiritual people. So this is all a part of your individuation. Now, what I mean is I don't mean that empaths are like narcissists in the sense that they think they are everyone is them. But it's not like once a baby realizes, oh, mommy is mommy and daddy is daddy and I'm me and you are you, okay? So that's a natural, healthy, I guess, where you evolve, okay? It's a level of individuation, but there's more to it. So you're highly aware that other people are their own beings, and so you're very much individuated to that, in that sense, and to that level, for sure. Here is the problem with empaths. You are so nice that you don't hold your own individualization. You don't hold your boundaries. So you have not done a complete individuation, okay? So there is another level. Alright, so I'm going to read something off. It's something I almost never do. It's very rare, but I think it's really, really important because I wrote it down, and I think in a very clear way. Alright, so a few videos ago, I think I said that you have to fight for your boundaries. You have to fight. You have to fight anyone and everyone and be the honey badger. So empaths almost never have boundaries because they were taught, usually by narcissistic parents, brothers and sisters, and society, that you were not allowed to say no. Thus, people could walk all over your boundaries. You were made to feel ashamed, guilty, and fearful of expressing any boundaries, of saying no, stop, don't. So you're made to feel fearful of expressing your boundaries or to stand up for yourself and to fight back. And that's one of the things that was, a lot of us that grew up in narcissist families with brothers and sisters, they could pick on you, they could beat on you, they could hurt you, they could just, like destroy your bike, rip up your homework, they could taunt you, they could do anything to try to get you to fight back. And the minute you fought back, everybody, all your brothers and sisters, your mother and your father, or maybe not your father, but who knows, is everyone joined in and they jumped on your back. Oh, you can't do that. That's bad. That's wrong. You're bad. See, you're bad. So they could literally attack you physically, emotionally, verbally. They could attack you, your homework, your property, your bicycle, or, they would just humiliate you in public. They could do anything and everything to hurt you. This could go on for years, and the minute you finally take a stand, they all point the finger, you're the bad one, you're the bad one. So essentially what they're doing, they're taking away your right to defend yourself, to stand up for yourself, to have any boundaries, because that's the thing. They want you to learn to not have boundaries so everybody in the group can take all of their hurt, their anger, their bad day at work, and they can take it out on you, and somehow they blame you for their problems. That is what a scapegoat is, and that's what empaths are. Here you are, the lightest, brightest, most spiritual being in your family, and yet you're the one that's supposedly called the black sheep. You're actually not the black sheep. You're the white sheep. You're the one of most purity. You're the one who has the best and the purest energy that they can suck the life out of. So you literally become the scapegoat. So you are the sacrificial lamb, literally. We live in a sacrificial society. It's been this way since the beginning of time. So what am I really talking about? I'm talking about that two-dimensional way of thinking, the either-or mentality. Well, it's either you or me. Now, these people that think in this way, this is the left brain way. It is the hierarchical way of thinking from top to bottom. Number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way down to the bottom. Somebody has to be at the bottom. This is how this mentality thinks, because it's like it's the physical design of either or thinking. And this is just the way it is. And if you can't think outside of this box, then that's the way society is going to be. All right, so if you look at, so the very first level of humans was survival. That's level number 1. Eating grubs, eating grass, anything out of the dirt. It was just pure survival. Level 2 was the tribal era. Okay, this is where there's one king, King Tut, and he ruled over everyone and everyone did what he said. So there was pretty much no decision making other than him. He made the decisions and you did it or you got killed. Level number 3 is the Rambo level. Rambo was the guys or people in society that will screw this. I'm not going to let this guy dictate to me. I'm going to go do what I want to do. So they basically went against the king. Now here's the deal. You ever heard that cops are on the same level as criminals, at least mentally? Well, here's what it means. They are both on the Rambo level. Okay, so there's good Rambos like John Rambo, and then there's bad Rambos, which are the criminals. So the cops would be the good Rambos, and then the criminals would be the bad Rambos. And then the next level is the religious level. Okay, level 4. Okay, so level 4 is about rule, structure, and organization, which is the left brain. In fact, all of this is left brain stuff. Well, actually, hold on a second. Alright, so there's a couple more levels. So after the religious level, which is pretty much, it's the same thing as level 2. It's just like one group or one leader makes all the rules. Okay, we are still in the, what do we call it? The tribal level. We really are. It's because it's literally like the left versus the right, the Palestinians versus the Israelis, just forget the word, damn it, the Jewish people versus the Arabic people. It's always this tribal, our tribe against your tribe. Okay? So then the next level, and you know what, it's been a while since I've taught this. I might have this one mixed up. I'm going to call it the entrepreneurial level. These are essentially the people that rape the land and reap the profits. These are the people that are going to dig into the earth for ore, for copper, for gold, for, like electric wire, stuff we need for our car. Like now it's the new one. I want to call it lithium for the batteries for our cars and our machines now that we have. So these are the people that just want to they don't care. They don't think about the earth and the atmosphere. They're just like, hey, let's reap the profits. And thus they destroy the land. So by the way, that's level 5. And again, I might have the word entrepreneurial mixed up with another level, another word, sorry, but that's level 5. And then you get people on the very first spiritual level. That would be level 6, okay? Now, the problem with level 6 is this. These are the people that like save the earth, save the trees, save the whales. But they don't do it in a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a grounded way, okay? Like, for example, someone on this level will literally say, hey, if we get rid of our military, we can feed the whole world and every citizen from the age of 18 to 55 can go to college all the way to their doctorate degree. Well, that may be true, but the problem is we will get killed. China will come in, Brazil will come in, Russia will come in, and they will literally destroy all of us, kill us, and they will literally take our land, okay? Now the people on that level will be like, well, why would they do that? They wouldn't do that. They're not doing it now. Yeah, because we have a very strong military. Although people on this level are well-meaning, it is a very dangerous level because they can't see what's the word? They can't put the pieces together. They can't make the connections. And then you've got level 7 on up, which are spiritual. And they tend to be more grounded in reality of consequences. If you do this, what's going to happen there? So here's the deal. All right, so level 1 through 5, and I'm going to kind of consider level 6. This is the either or mentality. I think on level 6 they got rid of the either or. They just say, well, let's just take one choice. Let's just do nice things, okay, without the bigger picture. Now the right brain is the beginning of the bigger picture. So if you look at the entrepreneur, rape the land, reap the profits, it's not healthy, it's not good. It's either this or it's that. It goes all the way back even to survival, the tribal level. Even the Rambo is like, well, it's either this or it's that, so I'm going to take this option. All of these levels are the either or mentality. That's what I'm trying to say. Essentially, they are a form of survival. Okay, it's either this or it's that. Now, you got to understand, lizards literally think in terms of either or. Okay, reptiles, they think in terms of either or, and they have a very narrow vision. They only see what's right in front of them. So if there's a bug in front of them, and then there's a lizard on the other side, it's like kill or be killed. Because now what I'm talking about is the lower reptilian brain. The lower brain on the brainstem, okay? The reticulating activating system, they call it. I like to call it the reptilian brain because that is the reptilian brain. It's the same nervous system that reptiles use, okay? And predators. Again, this is the one that narcissists use. So lizards are very narrow. They can't see the bigger picture. They can't put the pieces together. The low reptilian brain, it's either you or me. It's either kill or be killed. And so they feel like I have to kill that lizard in order to get this little mealy worm or this little bug because I'm hungry. If he gets it, then I starve. So I have to kill him in order to get it. And that's what's causing all the world's problems because they see everything in these terms. And these people are very stubborn because they're like, well, we don't have any other option, Michael. Yes, you do. You just can't see it from the low reptilian brain or the logical left brain because it's this whole either or mentality. And this is what causes the sacrificial way of living. Everything we do, even going to buy grocery stores, well, I'm going to trade this for that. It's either I have money or I have food. It's a toss-up. Let me think about it. How much of this do I want to buy? So when you go buy groceries, you don't just buy it as much as you want. You're like, oh shit, I only got so much money. I got to pay gas, got to pay rent. It's either or mentality all the way through. Everything we do is designed around this. The whole history of the Bible is trying to teach you a bigger picture. You can't look at the Bible and separate the verses. And this is what left-brain people do. They'll take an old verse and say, well, in the book of this, it said in chapter this, verse 21 through 23, it says blah, blah, blah. And then the other guy, because he's in either or mentality, well, I got to disagree with this guy. Yeah, but in the New Testament, in the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 10 through 11, it says blah, blah, blah. And they'll sit there and argue and argue and argue and argue and argue and argue. Ever since I was a little child. I remember looking at the television when I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old in the playroom. Every day, every morning around 9 or 10 a.m., they would have for some reason, someone turned the television on. And I was always there alone watching all the bombings from Iraq, Iran, Egypt, Israel, and on and on. It never stopped. And it still hasn't stopped. I remember President Jimmy Carter, when I was a little kid, he made this massive peace treaty between Israel and the Palestinians. And sure enough, 30 days later, Israel broke it again. They started plowing on the Gaza Strip and taking the land. They started building homes. It's like, even as a little child, I was like, what the hell are they doing? I was literally like 5 years old thinking this, sitting there in the room all by myself watching this. This is the either or mentality. It's either you or it's me. Why can't it be you and me? The and in both plus and more mentality, which is the right brain. You want to know why? Because they're stuck in their lower brain and their left brain. They can't open up to the right brain. And these are our world leaders. they're narcissists. Hell, Sam Vaknin just came out in the last couple months saying the same exact thing. In fact, I think he came out in the last 10 to 14 days based on what's been going on in Israel. Our leaders are narcissists. That's why there's so much war, because this is the way they view everything. It's either you or me. Either I'm rich or you're rich. And if you're rich, that means I have to take it from you. I have to kill you because I want it. So the left brain thinks in terms of either or. Well, that's two. Well, in NLP, we believe options only begin once you have 5 options or 5 possibilities. So in our view, if you only have 3 options, that you're still not in options yet. You're still in the left brain. So the right brain is all about options and possibilities. That's the difference between the right brain and the left brain. And people on the right brain can outthink people on the left brain. And this course I'm going to do in November, this is what I'm going to be teaching you, is how to access your right brain. So now you're open to all your brains, so you can be left, right, lower, and you can understand where someone's at. Now, people who are on higher levels, say level 7 and above, these are entrepreneurs who are spiritual, who see things from options and possibilities, all the options. They see it from different perspectives, from different angles. And you know what? The number one word that I came into after doing therapy, hypnosis, and personal development with people is shifting perspectives. If there's, other than energy healing, if there's really one thing that I'm doing, regardless of what tool I'm using, I'm helping you to see it from multiple perspectives. So I have to do all these different techniques to get you to shift, to be like, oh, I never saw it from this perspective. So this is how most people on the tribal level, because that's even religion, it's either or mentality. They look at this number and they only see it from their perspective. So if you're on the right side, you're like, oh, well, it's a 9. If you're on the left side, oh, it's a 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is flip you to 180 degrees and be like, oh, I see what you're saying. From this side, it looks like a 9. Whereas on the other side, you guys were arguing to death about this. This is exactly what the Palestinian and Israeli conflict is all about. It's just, well, I'm on this side, therefore you're the bad guy. It's either or thinking. So if you're on the right side, well, you think the guys on the left side are bad, and vice versa. And nobody wants to listen to anybody. Now here's how bad it is. The very last 5 seconds that I just said about being on the left or right side, people will be like, oh, okay, so you don't take my side? Oh, well, then you must believe this, this, and that. I'm like, all I said was, this is how Palestinian-Israel conflict. I'm not taking sides. Oh, well, you must be taking their side because you're not 100% on my side. See, when you're in this dynamic of dichotomous thinking, either or thinking, you can only see it from one perspective. And this way of thinking, this process, forces your brain to be like, oh, they must be on the other side. Oh, so they must think at this and they must think that. Have you ever had an experience with someone while you're talking to them and they're like, oh, so you believe this, oh, you believe that, and you're like, no, I don't. You're like, oh, yeah, you do, because blah, 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 you said this, and that means that. Like, no, it doesn't. I don't believe that at all. And no matter what you say, they have pigeonholed you because they are stuck in the either-or mentality. It's like, if you're not on their side, let's say on the left side, then you must be on the right side, and the right side people believe this, this, and that. And it's not true at all. Like, all of a sudden, they've decided for you what your beliefs, rules, and values are, and it's not true. And trying to talk to these people is impossible. So, when I work with men and I'm teaching them how to open up to the right brain, here is invariably what I will say 8 out of 10 of these guys will say. And not only that, but while we're going through the course, they're very resistant. And I'm like, yo, like what? I go, what is going on? I go, these are just visualization techniques. I go, I'm not asking you to stand on the edge of a cliff or something. Like what are you afraid of? And eventually, whether I say that or something, but they'll say, well, so does this mean I'm going to be stuck in my right brain for the rest of my life? And I just laugh and I'm like, really? I go, man, if it was that easy, oh, that would be a blessing. Because here's the deal. It's very hard. Especially growing up in Western societies, it's very, very hard to open up to your right brain. So guys, trust me, you will automatically go back to your left brain. I mean, it is so automatic that you have to work and work and work to open up to your right brain. This is not an easy task. And no, you will never get stuck there. Hopefully you can get good enough at that to where you can at least be there while in a conversation with a woman or another guy or another being who is in their right brain in the moment. So no. Now here's what it is though. So here's the funny part about when guys say, so does that mean I'm going to have to be stuck in my right brain? Or they'll say, does that mean I have to choose that over this, over the left brain? I'm like, no. See, here's the funny part about that. They're thinking from their dichotomous left brain. Well, it's either left or it's right. Get it? It's either the left brain or it's the right brain. I'm like, no. The goal is to teach you to open up to all your brains so you can fluidly shift left, right, lower, left, right, right, left. And you can fluidly shift instead of being stuck in one. This is consciousness when you're open to all three of your brains at the same time. So when you read the Bible, all of a sudden you have a greater understanding because you're coming from your whole brain. For example, the teachings of Jesus, beyond a shadow of a doubt, are right brain teachings. Well, how do I know this? Because I teach the internal right brain language. And by the way, for the men out there, this isn't made up. Women are very, very conscious of this because this language is very romantic to them. It's called the internal language. They use words like within, inside, enter, within, connect, and all that stuff. Now, there's a lot more words. I don't want to go too deep because it's going to get a little bit too romantic here. But Jesus literally says, hold on, picked out the wrong one. Okay, here it is. So Jesus said, Jesus is famous for saying, look within. He also says God is within the temple of the Lord. He says the body is the temple of the Lord. Okay, so that's all internal right brain language. Another reason why I know it is every single picture that has been painted of Jesus going back thousands of years, his pupils are always dilated. When you're in your internal right brain, your pupils dilate. That's how I know when someone's in the right brain. Now, Jesus came back when he was 28. There's a very spiritual thing behind that I'm not going to talk about right now, but it has to do with the fourth seven. So 4 times 7 equals 28. I woke up literally about 2 weeks after my 28th birthday. Now, back then, I was reading my Bible every single day, going to church twice on Sunday, going to Bible studies during the week, etc., etc. So I was constantly reading my Bible, and all of a sudden, especially the teachings of Jesus, everything started to make sense. It was like, oh, it became very simple. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. It's like, well, how did I miss this all my life? And I went to my pastors, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly what it says. Now, somewhere in the Bible, I thought it was in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but I can't find it right now. I'm going to try to find it. But it says, he shall be married one unto she. Well, I was taking psychology classes at the time, okay? And I was taking hypnosis classes and energy healing. And they all talk about the left brain and the right brain. The left brain is the male brain and the right brain is the female brain. He shall be married one unto she. And the one overarching pattern, or maybe that's not quite the word for it, but is purpose of therapy is to get the left hemisphere in sync with the right brain, okay? He shall be married one unto she. That's oneness. Well, what do you mean? Most people are not in rapport with themselves. All is what that means is the left hemisphere is not in sync with the right hemisphere. They're not in rapport, meaning, you know, like the heart monitor goes beep, 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 beep. It goes up and down. Well, the left brain might be going up and down like beep, 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 beep. But the right brain's like beep, beep, like big, long waves. This is lack of rapport. What we do is we get them to come back into sync, and that means they are now at one. Have you heard of the word atone? That's very spiritual. So I went to my pastor and I showed him that verse and I explained what I learned in psychology and hypnosis and energy healing, etc. And he looks at me, he goes, yeah. He goes, Michael, I just said that in Sunday 5 weeks ago. I was like, what? He goes, Michael, I broke the whole thing down. The word atone is 2 words, at one. It literally means to be at one within. I was like, oh, that's right, you did say that. That's what the Bible means when it says to atone. It means for you to open up to you, to reconnect with you inside. So now you have access to God. It's like see, if you're not connected to you, you can't connect with God. Meaning your left brain has to open up to the right brain and stay open. When you're in this state, now your prayers become more powerful. The phrase I am is a very, very powerful phrase. So your left brain you feel in your forehead. That's when you're thinking. Even when you say that word, you go up into your forehead. The right brain is your heart. That's in your chest area. You feel your emotions in your body, solar plexus and chest area. That's the right brain, okay? By the way, this image is a technique to open you up to your right brain, okay? This is why I'm showing this image. I am going to teach this and how to do it and what to do with it in this workshop that we're going to do in November. What does it do? It opens you up to your right brain, your vagus nerve system. When you look within, you connect to it's like there's the foveal system, the peripheral system. So you connect to the internal system when you learn how to look within, okay? There's a series of techniques that we will be going over. Because this is where you heal from. This is where you are intuitive, where you're in tune is when you're connected to this system. And when you're open to this system, you're open to all of your systems. Whereas when you're only in your left brain, you're only in your left brain and or lower reptilian brain. See, okay, so you know after you dealt with a narcissist and you felt empty inside, you felt almost like something died inside. They disconnected you from this system. So what I do with my coaching and in this workshop we're going to do in November, I'm going to be teaching you how to reconnect with this system. I'm also going to be using my actual physical energy to help guide your nervous system to remember, oh, that's right, I forgot about this. A lot of what I do is energy work. So while I'm talking to you, I'm shifting my energy to show your energy, like remember this, remember being connected to yourself, remember being grounded and tuned into your 5 senses and your physical flesh. And do you want to know why I do this? Because this is how you connect to your power. So when I say take back your power, which used to be a big part of my advertisement, this is what I mean. I literally mean to step back into your power. Because when you're in your forehead, you're going from your forehead out. That's the external system. You're not connected to your power. What I'm doing is teaching you to reverse that, to come back inside your body, to step back inside you. And this is what narcissists did to you. They disconnected you from the system and shoved you into the other system. So now you literally physically felt like something was missing inside. Yes, your awareness, your connection. And this is where you heal from. So if you're an energy healer, you have to reconnect to this system in order to help other people to heal. Now let's go back to boundaries. Okay, let me read this sentence. Probably the last one I read earlier. Narcissists take away your ability to have boundaries or to say no. We all felt so fearful in the past because of the way that they did this with constant punishment, physical punishment, guilt, shame, yelling at us, etc. So Sissy said, I'm only halfway through. Now she meant, here, let me pull up the video. Hold on. All right, so it says you have to destroy the narcissist. So narcissists can't individuate, or can they? That one came out last night, so last night was October 24th. So Sissy says, I'm only halfway through the video, but my mind just popped. The narcissistic parents take away the ability of us being able to say no. They steal our individualization. I still struggle saying no. And yes, that's exactly what they're doing. So this is why God or Spirit has you go through that dark night of the soul all by yourself. You isolate, you don't deal with people, you can't talk to people, you shut down completely. What you're doing is you're reconnecting with yourself. You're also building up boundaries. You're walking away from people that are being mean or rude or disrespectful, because now you're building up the Great Wall of China. So now you have your boundaries to where inside, now you can connect to yourself. And all of a sudden, life comes back. You start to smile. And it'll kind of freak you out when you do it, when you have a conversation with a stranger and you're, wait, what am I doing? And you walk away. So there is a process. Some of you are in that absolute fear state. Some of you are in this unbelievably sad state. And then some of you are at the next phase when you start to build up your boundaries. You're at that anger state where you're really, really pissed and you want revenge. But then you come to that stage where you're starting to open up and you're starting to enjoy life again. Like you even just breathing, you start to breathe deeper. Now let's go back to what I was saying early on about sacrifice and that the either or mentality and the level 1 from survival level all the way up to entrepreneurial level. This is all left brain either or mentality. It's survival. It's like, I've got to get on top of you. And that's the way they look at you. It's either you're above me or I'm beneath you. We can't be equal. And that's the thing. When you open up to the right brain, you're like, well, why not? Why can't we be equal? Why can't we be friends? Why do we have to dominate? See, the right brain doesn't look in terms of we need to dominate each other. It's all about, well, how can we get along? How can we work together? How can we work together and become more prosperous and more happy and more healthy? That's the way the right brain and the 3-dimension is. It opens you up to higher levels. Now, back in the Old Testament, it was trying to paint a picture. They started, look, man, in the beginning, Adam and Eve walked in the garden and they just enjoyed the hell out of life. They had sex, they ate food, they ran around naked, they didn't give a shit. Neither did God until the serpent came along and lied and tricked you. Convinced you that you were shameful. Why? To get you stuck in your left brain. Why? Because if you're stuck in the left brain, you are now disconnected from God. You are technically hiding from your emotional system behind your logic, and a lot of men do this. Oh, and by the way, if I didn't mention this, the right brain absolutely outthinks the left brain, especially if you're a very left brain person. Women spin circles around men, and men can't even see it. So guys, if you want to catch a clue, take the course. When I went through my awakening and I opened up, I realized all of this rules and all of this right or wrong, punishment or be punished, punish or be punished. And that's what you see in churches. It's like everyone's trying to punish each other. It's like this competition to outdo and I'm on top of you. No, I'm on top of you. Oh, you made a mistake. Oh, you didn't paint your car right. Oh, you smoked a cigarette. Oh, you're a sinner. Oh, it's this damn competition and no one is looking at God. No one is open to God. So the Old Testament, it was trying to teach people something. It was trying to, not the Old Testament, but the Old and the New. The left brain divides the verses. The right brain connects them like pieces of the puzzle. See, you were supposed to bring the pieces together to see the bigger picture, to see all the pieces of the puzzle together so you can see what the picture of the puzzle is. And you want to know what it is? It's love. See, living on the sacrificial level, level 2, or the 2-dimensional level, the either or, it causes you to have to constantly sacrifice. So in the Old Testament, they would kill animal after animal after animal, to where it literally said blood flowed down the gutter from all the priests up on the hill 24/7 as if a spigot, in other words, a water faucet was turned on and it was left on 24/7 round the clock, 365 days a year. It was like they were constantly sacrificing and killing animals. Now here's the deal. You never had to kill any of the animals. All God wants is for you to open up to God. So mankind didn't accept that. Mankind said, no, we must trade. And here's why, because they were stuck in the left brain. The minute you open up to your right brain, you're like, oh, we don't need to sacrifice babies and roll their bodies down this thing like the Aztecs did. That they cut people's heads off and roll their heads down the steps on that big pyramid thing that the priest would stand on at the top. See, look at all the cultures. Everyone is all about sacrificing and killing either babies or humans or animals. And God's looking at us going, what the hell are you guys doing? Again, this is lower reptilian brain thinking. Kill or be killed, right or wrong, either or thinking. The minute you open up to the higher level, all of this dichotomous kill or be killed, we must sacrifice, somebody's got to be at the bottom of the family, we got to beat down on someone, we got to yell at someone, all of this goes away. Why do you think you have family dynamics and even business dynamics where someone has to be the scapegoat, where someone's got to be constantly beaten down verbally, emotionally, and even physically? Because these people don't want to deal with their own issues. They don't want to deal with their own shame. Here's the really cool thing. When you begin to heal this stuff, when you begin to open up, boom, the shame goes away, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's not shameful, I made a mistake, I shouldn't do it again. And in other words, the guilt trips, the shame game, and the blame game, that all goes away. And now, nobody needs to be the scapegoat. Nobody needs to be punished and treated like shit all the time. So they were sacrificing all these animals. It got to the point, after the serpent tricked Adam and Eve, at first it was one animal a year, okay, for all the tribes' sin. And then it was one animal a month, and one a week, and then one every other day. Then it was every day. Then it was for all these different sins. Like if you had sex with your wife when she was on her period, well, you got to kill 2 turtle doves for that. And if you do this sin, you got to kill a bull. You got to kill an ox. You got to kill a ram. And it was just like a slaughter. It literally was a slaughter fest. And here's the sad part. Nobody ever came back to God. Because everybody keeps looking at everything through the two-dimensional brain. Again, the word sin does not mean, oh, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. Sin literally means that artery is narrow. Now you've closed off from God, meaning you've closed off from your right brain. The right brain is the doorway to God. So when you sin, the artery is narrow. You want to open the artery. Now I'm going to be teaching you techniques on how to open that artery in this course and in my one-on-one coaching. So it's going to be in November when we're going to do this training. Let's take the word repent. Most people think, I've got to repent. Oh, I'm shameful. I'm bad. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not repenting. That's not repenting at all. Repenting means opening back up to your right brain, opening back up to God. That's literally what it means. It doesn't mean to close off even more, but when you go to churches, this is what they constantly teach you. Oh, you got to repent. Like, you got to get on your knees because God's going to beat you down. You're about to be punished and shamed. It's like, that's not what it means at all. In fact, that's the opposite. It takes you in the wrong direction. It closes the door to God. And that's what Adam and Eve in the book of Genesis, it says, after they dealt with the serpent, it says, and they hid from God. God said, why? He says, well, we're naked. God said, who told you that you're naked? And the word naked meant we were ashamed. And it says that right after they ate of the fruit, it said they were naked and they knew. And no, it said, and they were naked and they knew they were naked. And it said, and they knew they were naked and they were ashamed. And I'm like, wait, what? And then the chapter just before that, it says, how do I say this? At the very, very end of it, it said they were naked and they were not ashamed. And I'm like, why did it say that? And then the very next chapter, they ate of the fruit and it said, oh, they were naked, or they knew that they were naked and they were ashamed. Whereas before, they didn't know they were naked. That's why it said, and they knew they were naked and they were ashamed. But the chapter before, the very last verse, it says they were naked and they were not ashamed. It didn't say they knew they were naked. It didn't say that they were ashamed. So all of a sudden you're seeing a complete shift going, wait a minute, what happened? And then it said, and they hid from God when God walked in the garden. Now watch this. You want to know how you repent? You look within because it opens that artery. You drop your awareness down inside your body, and boom, the artery opens up, which means blood flows up into your larger hemisphere, which means you open up your right brain, which is the open door to God, and now you have repented. So how do you open that artery? By being in states of love, happiness, and joy, and peace and harmony. But what do a lot of church people teach you? You're a sinner. You're going to hell. You know, hell and damnation. It's this either or battle. It's either I'm above you or you're above me. And everyone is guilt tripping each other and shaming and blaming each other. It's narcissistic. Completely, totally narcissistic punishment. So the way you open that up is by connecting internal, which is what I'm going to teach you. Now, another way to do it is by being in states of love and happiness. So happiness, love, and joy is how you defeat the narcissist. It's how you repent. It's how you open up to God. And remember, the definition of repent is not feel shame and feel bad. No, it means to be happy. It's like to turn back to God with all this happiness and joy. Because that's what opens up the artery. So Jesus comes along and he says, okay, fine, I'll be the ultimate sacrifice so you all can open up again to God. And that's what was the whole purpose. Because, you know, when people would sacrifice an animal, it might last for a week to 30 days. And then their shame and all that stuff kept coming back and they would feel embarrassed. And like Adam and Eve in the book of Genesis, they would hide from God. So people would go back into the logical left brain and hide from their emotions and feelings, the right brain, and thus they're hiding from God. And that's what Adam and Eve did. They disconnected. So the entire purpose of Jesus' sacrifice, of being sacrificed on the cross or crucified, was so everybody could finally let go and open back up to God. Now let me ask you a question. Did mankind do that? Did Christians even do that? No. About 97+% of Christians have still not opened up. The whole purpose of Jesus' sacrifice of being crucified on the cross is so we could finally let go of the sacrificial two-dimensional way of thinking. So we didn't have to have scapegoats anymore. So we didn't have to blame and shame the most spiritual people on the planet. So we didn't have to kill them and burn them on the cross and torture them and do horrendous things to them. But is that what happened? No. We still have to have scapegoats. Not every family, but almost every family, every business, etc. has multiple scapegoats. The scapegoat mentality still continues, even though Jesus was meant to be the ultimate scapegoat, the ultimate sacrifice to end it all so we could move up to the next level, the spiritual level. It was supposed to be such a huge, massive, unbelievable sacrifice from God, the crucifixion, that people would finally wake up and open back up to God again and realize God loves you. He always had. He always did. They didn't need to kill Jesus. The reason why they killed Jesus was to open you up, and you still didn't open up. Now, isn't that kind of sad? No matter what God did for us, no matter how many animals we sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice, Christ, the majority of people on the planet have not opened up because they don't know how. They don't even know what it is. For those of you who say Jesus had to die, the only reason Jesus had to die is because you refused to open up throughout the entire Old Testament, which was thousands of years. God gave you every way, every out, begged you, wanted you to come back, and you didn't. Mankind demanded the ultimate sacrifice. The animals weren't enough. The 24/7 spigot flowing down 365 days a year was not enough. They wanted the ultimate sacrifice, and when they got it, it wasn't enough. It's never enough. All you have to do is open up and let go of this either-or way of thinking. But you know what is the answer, and the way you let go of that is love. Love is the answer. Even Jesus says that. God bless you guys. Find your happiness. Find your joy. That's what God has wanted all along from the very beginning. come from your heart. Hey, if you guys like this video, if you learned something, click subscribe, click like, make a comment, and if you want, go ahead and make a donation. There's a donation, it's a PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.